Here we go. How's everybody going on? Everybody growing on. All right, here we are. Let's scoot back up here and talk about just a minute.
It was cold last night.
It was cold last night.
Somebody forgot to run a heater on in the house.
Yes, it did.
I got up this morning.
This morning we realized we didn't run the heat last night.
We had still left the air on, and it was 60 degrees in the house.
Yeah, we made it okay.
It was a little chilly.
It's a little chilly. But we got down, as far as I know, we got down to 28 last night. I'll give you a little garden update, and I'm sure you guys, some of you can chime in. And don't, 28. I know a lot of you got a lot colder than what we did. We did get 28. So it appears that the fig trees got burnt back pretty good. I think the actual plum in our, we got 2 plum trees. We got a plum cot and a regular plum. You know,
You think they did okay?
I thought they're okay. I went and checked them right before we started on here, and they appear to be okay. The fig trees got burnt back. They'll be fine. So my squash.
Yeah, my cucumbers bit the dust.
Yeah, squash bit the dust. Had squash up. The true leaves was on squash. It was just fixing to start growing well. Boom, they gone.
My lettuce and cauliflower looks bad, but I actually think it's bad from the wind.
We had a lot of wind yesterday, and that burnt some stuff. Broccoli and things like that got burned a little bit. I think it's going to be okay. The corn. Now, my corn was up about 1.5 inches, just coming through. It's yellow, and I seen just a little bit was burnt. The jury's still out on that. I don't know if the corn's going to be okay.
So what are you going to replant it?
I'm going to wait a couple of days and draw a conclusion. Then I'll decide whether I'm going to replant or not. So I kind of give y'all where my mindset was going into this, and maybe it can help you guys as well. Of course, we healed our potatoes, and they got burnt back some. They'll be fine. They'll come back. Potatoes are never a big issue for us. Potatoes and onions, they always do fine. As far as my corn goes and my squash goes, so I started covering up some of my squash, and I thought about covering up some of my corn. And I thought to myself, Greg, you're probably better off just to leave everything alone, let nature take its course. Because what happens a lot of times, if we try to save something, and we do save it to some extent, it gets burnt, stunted, but we save it, we would have been better off for it to die completely so we could replant and have a good plant come along that's not been zapped. And that may be the case with my corn. I mean, if the corn looks like it's not going to make it after this, I'm just going to replant. Because I'm better off to do that than I am to have stunted corn.
Yeah.
Although I'm hopeful that corn might make it. So we're okay. Hound of Garden, 22 this morning at upstate South Carolina. 22 will take out corn. Take out corn, squash, and everything. So at least I'm assuming you didn't have anything planted and you're good to go. Now, this is my prediction. I think this last cold spell.
You think so?
Yeah, I think next week, with the time has changed last night, so we got more daylight hours in the day, so I can get more done in the afternoon. I'm all in next week.
I am too.
I'm gonna get my tomatoes planted. I'm gonna get my beans planted. I'm gonna make a decision on my corn. I'm gonna get some more corn planted, so I'm all in next week. This is it. My prediction. This is it.
Hey, from Australia. Wow.
Yep.
What time is it in Australia?
Yeah, I think that would be the opposite of us, but I'm not sure. I think it would be. 200 tomato plants, over 100 cucumbers made it through the night thanks to LPS, Welch Farms, North Carolina. Us too. So I ran an electric heater and I ran an LP gas heater in the greenhouse all night for 12 hours. So yeah, I turned out, the greenhouse was fine. I'm like you, I burnt probably a whole little small tank of gas, but I'm in good shape there. You know, those LP little small gas heaters, they put out some
So you don't have to worry about the gas fumes?
I got enough ventilation in my greenhouse, I don't. If it was real tight, you may have to, but I got enough air holes in my, I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, I noticed my sunflowers were at the very end.
Actually, I set them on the ground and I set them back up there last night before you got out of the house this morning.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I took them and set them down because I didn't want they was on edge with
Yeah.
the wind. I didn't want them to get burnt, so I did do that
Oh,
too.
good.
Yeah. All right, Nana City Garden. My potatoes got bit back, even those I had them covered with straw and equipment. Even some of my arrow peas got bit back as well. I hope it'll be okay. Yeah, I think you probably will be. And those English peas can be pretty resilient, but I mean, if you get down into the low 20s, you can have some hard damage there. But
I covered mine with some hay, and I pulled the hay back this morning, and I could tell they had a little bit of damage, but I think they'll be okay.
yeah, and everybody worries about potatoes.
Hey, bee leaner, 25,
Potatoes are tough.
21 degrees last night. Reckon blueberries will recover.
If they bloomed out, ooh, probably not.
I had a miniature mulberry tree that I had put in a container that I moved under the porch and covered up. I was worried about it. 10 a.m. Wow.
Just after 10 a.m. in Australia.
Do y'all do daylight savings time in Australia?
That's an interesting question.
Yeah. Somebody told me today this was the last time our time would change, that we're not going to have daylight saving times anymore.
And who told you this?
One of my neighbors.
Oh, boy. I've told you about listening to neighbors before, haven't I?
Woo!
Jason, 19 degrees in Massachusetts. We still got another month in zone 7. But the ground is starting to unthaw, seen in a few robins. So one more full moon, I bet to Massachusetts to get the plants out. So answer this question for me, Jason. When do y'all normally plant your Irish potatoes? When do y'all normally plant those? It'd be interesting to know. Because we plant ours at the end of February, and somebody was complaining on Road by Road that their potatoes hadn't come up. They planted them in the middle of February. They need to check them because they probably rotted. If we planted ours at the end of February, and ours are pretty much, for the most part, we was probably 80% busted through the dirt before this cold spell.
I planted mine in that root pouch, and I've already had to cover it up twice. Plus, I covered up again before the freeze.
All right, John C., who has corn now? Florida, Georgia, and Alabama? Yes. Yes. So all of Florida has got corn growing. Georgia and Alabama, the lower part of the state. There's a lot of these old timers around here that'll plant their corn at the end of February. I got a friend of mine that planted probably around the 25th of February. His corn was up pretty good before last night. Hadn't got a update on how he made it through the freeze last night. But yeah, it's nothing uncommon for down here in lower Alabama and lower Georgia to have corn planted at the end of February. Actually, at the very tip around Bainbridge, Georgia, very south Georgia, they'll plant around the 15th of February. Maggie wants to say
hello.
Mama J, good to see you, Mama J. Planted my cabbage, kale, snap beans, beets, broccoli, and cauliflowers thus so far. 6B, 7A, excited. Yes. Yep. So that's one thing that we did this year also is we planted some things in there to come in, but right before our tomatoes and peppers and everything to have some grocers during April and May. So we've got beets and broccoli and cauliflower and cabbage as well planted. Yeah. And that's going to bridge us over till our spring crops come in.
Hello, Ashley.
From Queensland, Australia.
Buckshots, when do you plant y'all's green magic broccoli in the spring, or can you?
Yeah, I've already got some. I didn't plant the green magic. I planted the Godzilla. But you can plant the green magic anytime now. And if you don't know this, I'll go ahead and give you a little insight about the green magic. Of all the broccolis we carry, the green magic is the most heat tolerant. So when I say this, for your last planting of broccoli in the springtime my choice would be green magic as far as the variety goes. It's a great one.
They do have daylight savings time, but Queensland don't.
Don't want it. Yeah, we're not exactly excited about it.
I wish
ourselves.
they'd leave it one way or the other. I don't like the, once you get used to something, then you change it.
Danny Bennett, ready to go to planting this week. Oh boy, me too. Unfortunately, I lost some things last night due to the cold weather, and I didn't turn the heat on outside. I was going to. I'm getting old. Yeah, Danny, I lost a few things too, but you know what? We can replant and go again. Sometimes you just take a chance. And I knew when I planted that squash at the end of February, I was taking a gamble there, and I lost. How about it, Ralph? Ralph says, how much water is required for tomatoes? Indeterminate if a 4, 6 foot, and even 8 foot. Oh, man, that's kind of a hard question. If you read up online, they're going to tell you 1 inch to 2 inches per week. But it's really according to what kind of soils you have. Sandier soil is going to drain quicker. And it also determines what kind of weather you have and how hot it is. So normally speaking, 1 to 2 inches a week. At certain times, you may have to give more than that. I would say minimum 1 to 2 inches per week. Maggie says she's had enough.
She's had enough. She's gone.
She's going to come over here to me.
Mm-hmm. You need a chair on that side.
Uh,
She won't sit in your lap.
H.A. Lincoln, we had
Ooh.
18 degrees last night. I haven't checked on my grapes or my roses. Snow is still blocking the door. Our heart goes out to you, A.J. Yeah, 18 is pretty doggone cold. Yeah.
Tomatoes planted today, 77. Where are you at, Angelina?
Yeah, I'm going to get mine planted this week. I'm doing several different varieties testing, and I was out in the greenhouse earlier, and they're all ready, so I'm ready.
What are you drinking, Mr.
I'm
Ross?
drinking turmeric tea. It's really good. It's got just a little bit of spice to it.
It's got some pepper in it.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to have pepper with turmeric.
It keeps you from drinking it too quick.
Pinholes and drip tape. Do you let it go or splice it?
I splice it because it drives me insane. Now, if you got pinholes in your drip tape bin, you probably need to figure out why you've got pinholes in your drip tape. It could be two things. And if this drip tape was left there from last year, it's a possibility you could have got some wire worms could have got in there. But if you're just getting these pinholes now, then you may have a pressure or a volume issue causing your pressure regulator to malfunction, and you get too much water in there causing it to blow out. I would try to figure out why I'm getting those pinholes in there. Hey, Jason, we typically can't plant tomatoes till the middle of April, but we usually say after Memorial Day is a safe time to plant here in Massachusetts for all of us raised beds, small acre farms. Good info there.
Memorial Day, that's not till the end of May.
I know what.
Wow.
Our daughter lives in Ohio, and she told us the same thing. She said the safest bet was to wait till after Memorial Day to plant.
Ooh, hey, Amanda from England, across the pond.
Yep. Living a road life, is it okay to plant corn in beds that I had okra in last year? Yes, I think you'll be fine. In fact, that would be a wonderful rotation there. Corn normally don't have a problem with nematodes, and that would be a good follow-up. Or vice versa. If you had corn there, it'd be a good place to plant your okra this year. So, yeah, that's a great rotation.
Hey, Cattywampus.
I think we're going to be able to visit Cattywampus in a couple of weeks.
In a couple of weeks.
Yep. Hey, Mike Wilson. Currently 23 degrees from Redford, New York. 1909. Ooh. Yeah, I guess you guys are a little bit off too before you start your spring planting. Now, you could probably go, Mike, I'm going to ask you this question. Can you go ahead and plant your beets and things like that pretty quick? Maybe the next week or two? Or does that come in before you add? Hey, Lynn Wood, can I use half strength of micro boost when I step up my heck yeah. The great thing about
whole
micro
boost.
Yeah.
It's just not gonna hurt.
Whole boost instead of micro boost.
Well, I mean whole strength.
Yeah. Yeah, microbead's a good thing about it, you can't burn it, so it's no big deal. Matthew, do y'all plant your yellow squash early as possible to avoid them darn squash bugs? Yes, we do. But now I know everybody has different experience with squash bugs, but we normally don't have a problem until
It gets
July.
really hot.
Yeah, July.
And then usually our squash is gone by then. Trick question.
And Mama J says, cheating potatoes in the process. I need maybe another 2 weeks for cheating. Yes, you do, probably.
When is the best time to plant cabbage in zone 7? Here. Sorry, catwalks.
Oh, man. Are you talking about transplant or direct seed? I think you got time now to direct seed it if you hadn't already, where you can grow your plants. Now, we normally do transplants on cabbage. We put them in the ground as transplants. For zone 7, unless somebody disagrees with me, I think you could probably go ahead and get them in the ground. Yeah, I don't think it'd be a problem. Cabbage would take a lot of cold weather.
Ooh.
Any tips for starting strawberries in zone 7? Ontario is cold here. Deborah, never been to Canada, much less can tell you how to grow strawberries up there. No, I don't. Strawberries, again, they take a lot of cold weather. So, I mean,
Yeah, I did cover mine up last night.
as far as zone 7 in Ontario, my guess would be you could start sometime in April. Hey, Cloud99, my Hoss Texas Sweet 1015 white onions are rocking. Yeah, our onions are rocking too. And let me tell you what that 1015 means if you don't know. Do you know?
Mm-mm.
That 1015 means that's when you need to plant that onion. As transplants.
Like October 15th?
No, November. No, excuse me, October 5th. That's right. October, November. Yeah, October 15th. So the 1015 is month and date. Yeah.
Wow.
I like to mess up with not November. Yeah.
Annie Gaddis, is there a way to use T-post remover to pull up some?
Try and see. Let us know how that works for you.
We don't have a T-post remover.
I've had one before.
You do?
I've used one. Yeah. I've never tried to use pull up trees. That's cool. All right, the P Ranch. Here we go. We got some Alabama folks here. I live in Alberta, Alabama, South Alabama, Zone 8B. Is it okay to go ahead and plant my tomato starts? Need to be potted up, but can't find the right pots I need and don't want to lose them.
You're going to plant yours next week?
I'm going to plant mine next. I would say yes is my. I think you're fine to put them in the ground next week because I have declared that we're not going to have any more freezes.
You may have to eat those words.
I have declared
that
freezes are over.
Hoss has declared.
Hoss has
no
declared.
more freezes.
Yep. Amanda says fertilizer and compost is so expensive now in the UK. I'm starting 3 times the normal nettle and comfrey tea beans. Interesting.
Yeah.
That is very interesting. So that can be used as fertilizer. I don't know a lot about that, but I do find that extremely interesting. On my bucket list is to be able to travel to UK and do some garden tours, and I would love to do that because we spent a week, about 7 days in Germany a few years ago, and we were able to visit some farmers markets and everything. And
that was so much fun.
It's good to see how people do things differently.
We actually got some seeds from there.
We snuggled some seeds back.
Smuggled, not
snuggled.
Snuggled. You snuggled.
We snuggled them back too.
I did snuggle.
Buckshots. I tried the aspirin in the water spray bottle trick and had the healthiest, most productive tomatoes ever. Have you ever done this? Buckshots. Oh man. So what you did very well may have helped with that, but here's my theory on that. Calcium is moved primarily through the xylem of the plant. So calcium don't move from the leaves down very well. It moves from the root system up a lot better. A lot of people like to use eggshells and whatnot to get the calcium there. I don't understand why people just don't use gypsum. It's a great, quick source of calcium. Put it at the root, let the root system take it up so it's throughout all of the plant. That seems to be the best way to get calcium through the plant. Now, when I say gypsum, we sell gypsum in bags. But you know what? If you got some old sheetrock, trimmings or whatever, it's the same thing.
Really?
Yeah. Just take that. If you've got that, or you know somebody's building a house, you can get some scraps.
Tearing down the house.
Tear down the house, as long as it's not asbestos, as long as it's sheetrock. It's got limestone in the middle of it. Gypsum, it'll do the same thing. So that's I would prefer to put it in the root system, let the plant take it up, than spraying it on it. Hey, Katie, are you getting bubbing on your onion? Yes. I did a TikTok today on that. Yeah, actually.
It was your neighbor's onions.
It was my neighbor, but my neighbor is a student.
Yes.
Is a student. They've never grown onions before, and I'm carrying them along the journey there. And
their onions look better than our onions.
They're doing really good. Yeah. I told them today, I said, you've listened well.
I've got some red onions that are bulbing now. My white ones are not.
Yeah, Katie Wampus, we normally speaking, the end of February, we stop our fertilizing our onions because here in the South where we live, the bulbing process normally starts the end of February. Therefore, we stop fertilizing, and about the 1st of April or 10th of April, we should be harvesting. Hey, Ralph, will vegetables know the difference between organic fertilizer and synthetic? No, they don't. They don't. Plants do not know the difference of nutrients, whether it's organic or synthetic.
All they care about is
if it's there. Now, your soils will react differently between the two, but not your plants.
Oh, my goodness.
Lindsay, it was minus 14 last night in Minnesota, 40s by Tuesday. Maybe this is the last time you see minuses this year, Lindsay. I know we're all tired of cold weather. I'm ready for spring.
I can't imagine minus 14.
No. Hey, Gary. Hello to everyone. My halcinator tomatoes sprouted nicely. Good deal. Man, I have got halcinators growing in the green.
We've got enough halcinators for the state of Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to give a lot of halcinators to my neighbors and friends. What few I got.
Yeah. If you live close to us, come get you some halcinators.
John C. Planting beets now in New Jersey Zone B. Also pre-soak the seed. Interesting. I've never pre-soaked beet seed. Yeah. I got a good stand this spring, but that's interesting.
So they did okay last night?
They did fine.
Any chance of Miss Hoss writing a cookbook or candy book or gardening book? It's on my bucket list. On my bucket list.
Weber Homestead just made some cream corn with your honey sled. Man. Whoa, that's some good stuff. Stick to your ribs.
What is your zone? We're in 8B.
Yep.
South Georgia.
South Georgia. Hey, Jamie. Hey, Hoss family. Shout out to you, buddy. Will you ever carry Oxheart variety of tomato? Oxheart. We might. We've added a lot of varieties this year. We may. I appreciate you bringing that up. Yeah, we may.
Let me make a note of that.
Yep. What is the secret to germinating your Katrina cabbage? We don't have any problems. Well, let me tell you a secret here. So don't plant them too deep because cabbage seeds are very small. So that could be part of the problem. Also, top dress them with perlite, and you'll find that they germinate and come up a little bit better with perlite on top of them versus soil. And make sure you don't plant them too deep. That is my secret.
So don't cover them with soil, cover them with perlite?
That's what I've been doing. We've had a lot of very good results with that. I've noticed that it's easy to plant those small seeds too deep. Mm-hmm. And when you do, they just don't come up well.
You know, my sunflowers, I put a little too much perlite on some of them and they didn't come up.
Yeah. Plant them too deep.
I don't know that I planted them too deep. I think I put too much perlite on them.
Yeah. If you could only use one in your greenhouse, would it be heat mats or grow lights?
Heat mats.
Well, They do two different things. So if I could only use one, let me go back and explain what each one of them does. So I use heat mats until the plants start coming through the soil, and then you can turn the heat mats off and just use your grow lights. So your grow lights are going to keep your plants from getting spindly, and your heat mats is going to help those seeds germinate.
But we don't have any grow lights in the greenhouse.
No, we don't use grow lights in the greenhouse. We do use them.
In your greenhouse.
Yeah, I do. I see that now. We do use grow lights in the break room when we're doing some specialty stuff, but we don't use grow lights in the. However, we do use heat mats.
Yeah, I actually started all my sunflowers right here on this table in our studio, and then once they popped up, I moved them to the greenhouse.
Yeah.
Hey,
Coastal Gardens NW.
Oof. That's a new life.
Yeah, Joe Hodges says 12 degrees last night in Glade Valley, North Carolina. Waiting impatiently to get my Halcinator seeds started. Still have a couple weeks to go. Love me some Hoss Tool seeds. Thank you so much, Joe. We appreciate you. And yeah, those Halcinators,
they take longer, don't
they? They take a little bit longer than Bella Rosa does. Mm-hmm. He said he's waiting. I don't think he started them yet. But you probably should go ahead and start them. How about it? Was that
Rios
Family Homestead. Yep.
Hello.
Greetings. I'm also in Zone 8B and also buy a lot of your seeds. Thank you so much. Well, heck yeah, thank you. We appreciate you. Hey, Mike. Mike says, any recommendations on soil to fill mini raised beds, 4x8, 2 inches deep, or 2 foot deep? I got my glasses, Mike. I'll tell you what we did a few years ago. We had some good topsoil when we did your raised beds. This is years and years ago. But I was able to find some mushroom compost. And we mix that mushroom compost with some good topsoil. So that would be, if you could find some good bulk compost, mushroom compost, anything like that, be my recommendation. It's going to be a little expensive up front, but I think it's going to pay dividends for you.
Printed. Do you know why I would have large flies in my greenhouse? It's fully screened.
Maybe not large flies. I don't. You could have some gnats in there causing some problems, but they actually come out of some soils. Fungus gnats, they can live in some soils, but not about large flies. No, I don't. Ben asks, how much gypsum do you put per plant? All right, this is what I normally do. When my plants start blooming, at first bloom on my tomatoes, I normally take a handful and I put on each side. Because if you just put it on one side, believe it or not, that calcium is just going to be took up on one side. And it's just going to affect one side of your tomatoes. So I go down both sides of the row and I take me a handful and I throw it at the root of the plant. And that's what I do. And I do it again every 2 weeks. Cat Lady Homestead 23, meow.
Does garden lime really help gardens? I have a 4-inch of garden that costs a lot for it. Well, you need a soil sample first before you add any lime.
Lime will adjust your pH, and you need to know what your pH is before you start putting your lime out there.
Howdy. I remember you from last
Spa
week.
Diva says, howdy, southern neighbors. Well, howdy, Spa Diva. Super Evil C says, any gypsum like hydrocol or, I'm not sure about that now. There's some big words you throw it on me. I'm not sure. We used regular gypsum is what we use, and I'm pretty sure it's the same gypsum that's in sheetrock. So down here in the south, we put lots of it on peanuts, and they call it lamb plaster.
Mm-hmm. Starla Doug Wagon Hollow Homestead. Tums is a great source of calcium. Do it every year.
Tums is a good source of calcium, and it will work. However, it can get expensive if you got very many tomato plants going to the dollar store buying Tums, when you can simply use some leftover sheetrock or buy you a bag of gypsum, and you get a lot more bang for your money there. So yeah, Tons of work if you just got a tomato plant or two. John, this is a good question here. Are heat mats safe to use as far as the fire danger goes? I haven't used them before. Man, this is one I like to answer right here. You need to make sure that you buy a good quality heat mat and don't necessarily be shopping for the cheapest price out there. If you go to Amazon, there is some cheap Chinese-made heat mats on there. The one that we sell, and this was a biggie for us, it is UV listed. So it's been tested for safety measures there, and it has that seal on there. It's
all around
circle,
the edge.
and it says UL. And that's it's been tested, and it's a good quality heat mat, and it's sealed throughout, not just on edges. So make sure you get a good quality.
Had ours in here on top of this desk, and I was not worried about it at all.
Drama clean. My cabbage starts for a little wilted last night. New Hill, North Carolina. Will I be able to perk them up? You know, my word too. I think they'll be fine.
We think a lot it was the wind that might have got them before the frost.
Yeah, I think they'll come back fine. Living a road life. Are the Halcinator better than the Bella Rosa or Red Snapper?
We will see.
Good question. So I've never grown the Halcinators before, but this year I'm going all in the Halcinators. And what I have got in my test garden, I'm gonna test the Halcinator against probably 6 different varieties, Red Snapper being one of them. I got some new varieties that the breeder sent me to well that we don't carry that I'm gonna test them against. And I'm going to test them against Bella Rosa. So I'm testing the Halcinator against the Bella Rosa, against the Red Snapper, against some of these newer varieties. Now, this is what I anticipate finding. I anticipate finding from all the people I've talked to, and these, you have to understand, the Bella Rosa comes from the same breeder that the Red Snapper and the Halcinator comes from. So these guys are not biased when they start talking about these varieties because all of them are theirs. And they tell me that the Halcinator will outperform any of them. Red Snapper is right there close to it, and then Bella Rosa is below that. I have got to see it with my own eyes because the last in-depth grow out I did years ago where I tested several different varieties, Bella Rosa killed it. And it's been my go-to variety since then. And I will tell you this, the fastest germinating seed that we have is Bella Rosa. But I do anticipate the Halcinator taking the tile there, but we shall see. Hey, Chris White, sowed tomato seeds today indoors, 7B in North Carolina. I can't find German Johnson seeds.
Well, we got some.
Let's see. I'm not sure if we do or not. There's different strains of those, if my memory serves me right. So it may be a little hard to find. And that's an old heirloom variety right there. German Johnsons. Garland Girl in Southeast Michigan, Zone 6. When is a good time to start scallions? Well, I think pretty soon. I'm not a Zone 6 expert, but I would say you could probably start them around the first.
Is that like our green onions we start? Is that something different?
Scallions. It could be. Tomatoes. James Clark, what is a good producing cherry size tomato? Man, we got lots of those this year. Wow.
Sweet Rosie Finch.
No, Rosie Finch. Rosie Finch would be a good one.
Sweethearts.
Sweethearts would be a good one. We have Rosie Finch, we have Yellow Canary, and we have Red Robin, which are dwarfs that if you're going to grow in a container, I'm a big believer in those. But if you want an indeterminate, go with, which one did you say? Just
Sweethearts.
Sweethearts would be a good one. Mike Wilson says, I would like to tour the Hoss factory and watch my 2-wheel build. And Mike, if you're down this way, stop by and we'll give you a tour. How about that? Just make sure you text me, make sure I'm going to be here, and I'll be glad to give you a tour.
We don't have any German Johnson.
It's going to be kind of a hard one to come by. I don't know where to tell you to reach out. If I'm not mistaken, there's a breeder in Ohio that breeds that particular one, and his last name is Weaver. And I'm not sure where you can find those at. That is kind of hard to get heirloom. Aaron, hey, Hoss, we always grow peaches and cream bicolor corn. I was wondering if you tried a better bicolor. I'm trying one now. So I am trying a new SH2 variety that the breeder sent me to try. And I'll let you know. But I'll give you an example. Ambrosia is a bicolor. It does really good for us. It probably stands out more of a fall variety than a spring variety, but we love ambrosia.
It says we have German Johnson.
Oh, we do have German Johnson. Yep, we have German Johnson. Yep. I think I know where we get that one from. Yep. Tim Peters, Farmer Garden, Mr. Greg, what zone is the Atlanta area? I would say 8. I would say it's on the top end of 8. Robert Wilkins, what is your opinion on planting sweet corn on double rows? I think it's fine, Robert. I think it will work if you've got very little or no weed pressure. The problem with double rows is weed pressure. You have a hard time keeping the weeds out of there, and you have a harder time hilling in the double rows. So, you can do it if you've got the right setup and you don't have much weed pressure. I have way too much weed pressure for double rows. I have to plant mine on single rows. That way I can get in there and work them a lot more aggressively. Out of the doors, I've tried a few seeds from Hall's Tools for the first time. They're very impressed with the shipping packages and germination. They are outperforming the seeds from Burpee and Baker Creek so far. Well, thank you. If you ever seen our process of the way we do everything here, it would kind of enlighten you a little bit on why our seeds do so well. We're very peculiar about the way we store our seeds, the way we keep up with our germination tests, and the way we pack our seeds and where they're stored. So we think that helps some. We by no means are the cheapest seed people out there, but we think we are at the top end as far as quality goes.
Monica Getter, West Central Georgia. My red onions I planted from you last winter took a hit last night. Will they recover? Should I cut the limp leaves off?
Monica, I'd leave them alone. I think you're going to be fine. I think you're going to find out those onions are very resilient, and I think you'll be okay. They're going to look bad for a day or two, but they should bounce right back. James Clark, we have golden squash, contender beans, pickling cucumber, and straight 8s already up. And of course, we had to cover them last night and tonight. Chattahoochee County, Georgia. Well, good for you. Yep. So you're going to beat all your neighbors this year to the squash. Yep. Good deal. Matt, what's the trick to avoiding planting radish seeds too thick? Man. Now, I normally don't plant a lot of radishes, but I do like to plant some radishes. This is what I do. I take the seed pack and I cut me just a little bit off the corner. And I just kind of tilt it this way and I walk down through there and I just bump that seed pack. And that's the way I kind of get them planted out there. I don't plant enough radishes to get the cedar out because I normally don't plant 10, 15 foot. So I just take that seed pack and kind of bump it as I walk down through there, and that's the way I do it. Hey, Chris White, new to Hoss Tools. Saw y'all for the first time in HOA in Virginia. Heck yeah. Last October. Pleasure to have met y'all. It was a pleasure to meet you, Chris. And we are looking so forward to coming back up here this year. We've already made plans.
Yes.
We've already signed up to be a major sponsor again. And we're excited about going back. We're going to try to get us a Airbnb, maybe a little bit closer. It was about 10 miles away last time.
That was the highlight trip of the year, I think. It was just so much fun meeting all our family.
Yeah. And, the bad thing about it is they pre-sell these tickets and they're going to sell out. So if you're interested in going, you better get your ticket early, because I
And
promise
a
you,
place to stay.
yeah, they're gonna sell out. But yeah, it was a great event, Chris, and we enjoyed meeting all you guys.
Garden Girl. Is it better to grow onion plant starts in raised 4x8 elevated handicap raised beds or in the ground in an unheated hoop house? I've got them in raised beds.
I think she's talking about starts. I think she's talking about planting her seeds.
Oh, the stars. The
I would do the
seeds.
raised bed. Yeah, I've done that before, and you can manage. Weeds can be an issue with that situation, so you can manage that a little bit better in a raised bed. In a 4x8 raised bed, you can grow a lot of starts. So I would do the raised bed thing. Michael Brotherton, Lakeview Gardens, Zone 8. What is the lowest night temperatures you would plant your tomatoes and pepper plants? Well, that's kind of hard to say because we don't know what the future holds when we plant them. If I was getting consecutively in the night in the 50s in the night for a low, I think that would be my threshold. If it wasn't getting no lower than in the 50s, I think that's where I might go with. A little dip, maybe in the high 40s at most, but that would probably be where I would be at on that. Andrew, speaking of sheetrock, y'all rock. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate the kind words. Hello to all North Carolina folks. I'm in North Carolina. Also, these two are amazing. I love hogs. Oh, thank you. That's Cat Lady Homestead 23. Meow.
Good thing Maggie can't read.
Yeah, she's over here laying down asleep.
James Clark, first using your seeds and so far a success. Do y'all do farm tours in person?
When we have time. It's kind of this time of year is tough around here. When we have time, we have visitors come by. We do what we can. But just to give you an example, Mondays is horrible right here. We're trying to catch up for the weekend, and everything it's like a war zone sometimes. We do what we can as far as
if you're in this area, we'll accommodate, but Mondays are really bad.
Yeah. Barrett Farm, how do you keep rabbits from your corn plant? I don't have problems with corn, but I do have rabbit problems eating my brassicas. So what I had ended up doing was I've done it two ways. I've used a temporary fence, one of those little plastic fences, or one of my spots I put up a permanent little fence. What do you call that? Rabbit wire fence around that. So to answer your question, exclusion is the only thing I found, using some type of fence and keep them out there. I'd get up in the middle of the night or 12 or 1 o'clock, come up there and try to find them to shoot them, and they ain't never out when I come up there to check on them. So I quit trying to shoot them in the middle of the night.
Which Maggie's helped with that.
Maggie's helped a little bit.
Maggie helps with the rabbits and squirrels.
She don't wander as much as dogs we've had in the
No.
past.
I'm trying the mountain vineyard out this year. You'll be happy.
Oh man, Andrew, that is a rocking variety here. The mountain vineyard comes from BGO seeds, and it is that's what the breeder owns, BGO seeds. They isolated the Crimson gene for the mountain vineyard, and when they sent us some of those, they overnighted us some samples the first time. Amazing. They have the most robust, deep reddish color to them. Then they have a great flavor to them. That Crimson gene in tomatoes is all the rave right now, and you'll love that
one. Wow. Can you read that? Starla Dark Wagon Homestead. What about propagating sand plum bushes? I love sand plums, but scared of snakes, so won't go pluck.
Yeah, I think I know what she's talking about. You remember those old plum trees that grow on the side of the road that we used to those little.
We used to ride our bicycles every Sunday.
Well, actually, we would ride around in the car and try to find them. Yeah, we would. Mama would carry us riding around in a car, and we knew where to go on the side of the road, and we'd stop and get back.
We had to get on the bicycle.
I know exactly what you're talking about because you're going to find snakes in them plum bushes. Every time we went, we almost found a snake in the plum bushes.
I never found
Oh,
a
we
snake.
did all the time. But yeah, can you? I'm assuming you can propagate them. I'm not sure. I've never done that. I don't see why not.
Mm.
But those old sand plums was good. And we'd jump out of that car there and we'd tear that bush up.
So Weber Homestead says start scallions right now in zone 6.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that. Justin Harry, can I grow your tomatoes in Florida? Nah, but heck yeah, Justin. A lot of the Halcinator information that we got this year was from trials down in Florida. So the Halcinator and the Red Snapper, both of those really stand out down in Florida. We also have one called Florida 91 that was bred by the University of Florida that does well down there.
Very heat tolerant.
Very heat tolerant. Florida 91. Yeah, Jason, what happened to the Nubia eggplant? You know, the one with the white streaks on it? They've been some problems with some of the eggplants. We've had problems sourcing this year. We hope next year it will be a little bit better. So, yeah, we've had to bring in some new varieties this year because some of the older varieties, such as the Nubia, was not available.
When using the 162 tray and bottom indoors, do you continue watering from the top or just put water in the bottom when the plants get big enough? Randy,
you can do both. I prefer, from a disease standpoint, if you put them if you put the 162s in the bottom tray, I like to put something underneath them so that they can still drain out of there and just use the bottom tray as a catch basin. But I prefer to do top water and let those plants drain out the bottom there, and you'll find you have a lot less disease issues that way. If you let those sit in water, asking for problems. Samantha says, just realized I plan on planting tomatoes where my potatoes were last year. Is this going to be a problem? If so, what could happen? It's not the best thing you can do. Sometimes we have to do what we have to. If you're limited on space and that's all you can do, you just have to make it work. You could have some blight problems, some blight. Both those tomatoes and potatoes are in the same family. So you could have some blight hang around and your blight could seem to be worse. So blights and any other type of diseases could be worse. If I had to do that, I would get as much good compost as I could and amend the soils there, and I think that'll help you some. But the reality is we just do the best we can. Sometimes we're limited on space. We just do the best we can. Andrew says, y'all seeds are very well maintained. Well, thank you, Andrew.
we try really hard.
Spent a lot of money on our facility here to do that.
Philip Davis, glad to have Hall's Tools nearby. See y'all later in the week.
Cool, Philip.
Annie Gaddis, what do I use to kill whatever makes lace dollies out of our breakfast radish leaves?
Probably a combination. If you want to stay organically, you may want to go with spinosad or maybe some neem. I'd probably go with spinosad at that point. If not, you can go with a Bug Buster 2, and that'll knock it out. Something's eating your leaves there. Mm-hmm. So it could be a worm. If it's a worm, spinosad's going to take care of it. Or if it's a chewing type insect, spinosad has a very wide ranging label there. But the Bug Buster 2, being synthetic, has a wider, maybe a little bit quicker knockdown. Karen Humble says, I love everything I've gotten from Hall's Tools. Are the best. I always have great germination. You guys are the best. Thank you, Karen, for the kind words and support. We love what we do.
Andrew, should I start my okra and cell trays after I plant my tomatoes?
That's a good strategy right there, Andrew. Yeah, by that time, soil's going to be warmed up a little bit, and you should be hitting it right about perfect. So that's good. Recycle those trays just as soon as you get your tomatoes out. Start with your okra. You know, that's the exact thing I'm going to do. So if I plant my tomatoes next week, I haven't planted my okra yet. So if I plant my tomatoes next week, I can just get that okra in there.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Gary, what's up, dude? Cold spell took out my zucchini and squash, cucumbers, and green beans. Man, I thought you might be safe. How cold did it get there, Gary? Oh, man, I was hoping you'd make it down there. Yep.
We were down in Florida yesterday.
Yeah, we went as far down as where he's at. We was in the Panhandle.
Mm-hmm.
We went to Perry down that way.
That's some good seafood.
We did. Ron, Cherokee County, Texas is on 8B. I've ordered the black creme tomato from Hoss. It should be here any day. How long should I leave the lid on over the seed tray till germination, till first true leaves? No. I would leave the dome on the seed tray until I seen green. When you see green,
take it off. I
would take it off. Make sure you got it in a good place so it won't get cold. But take that dome off. Take that dome off. Get light to it, whether it be outside light, natural light, or whether it be a grow light. And when you take that dome off, air circulation is going to increase, and your disease pressure is not going to be as bad. Hey, KP. Hey, Miss Sheila, Miss Greg. You started at supper time, so I missed a lot. Greg, how deep does your corn roots grow? I'm trying to pick the best spot.
We started a little late today because of the time change. We figured y'all might be outside working in the garden.
Yeah. So, KP, roots on corn are fibrous. So you don't necessarily have that tap root with corn. They're fibrous, so they kind of go out like that right there. So I don't really necessarily have really deep rooted corn, but they can spread out for a little bit.
Thank you, KP.
Yep.
Ron. Cherokee County, Texas. It's on 8B.
Yeah, we answered that one a minute ago. All right, I'm in South Georgia 8B and have so many issues with ants in my garden. Do you know how to? Mm-hmm. I do.
They're after the aphids.
They're after the aphids, but if you do have fire ants, we have a product that's a fire ant bait that's on our website. Yep, can you reach it up there? I'm going to do a video on this a little later on. This is a wonderful product right here. However, it's got to be used correctly. And I'm going to do a video on that when it gets a little bit warmer, showing you how to do this. This is the ant bait, and it kills the queen. And it's safe. The active ingredient is spinosad, so it's safe. You don't have to worry about any contamination or anything like you do some of the other fire ant baits. But the key to this one here is you have to put it down in the middle of the day when the ants are foraging. So you don't want to put it out on a cloudy day, or you don't want to put it out early in the morning or late in the afternoon. You want to put it out in the middle of the day. The ants can forage on this because it's got a food source inside of it. And they'll take this back inside to the colony. And the queen will eat it and she will die. And that's the key to it there, is you kill the entire colony. It's not fast. It's going to take a few days for it to completely collapse the colony. That is a great product we've been using for years. And it works good. The only thing about it, it's got to be used correctly. Any secrets to raising your trimble or aguande squash? No, I don't have any secrets for that. I will tell you this. I will tell you a couple of traits to it. It has a very small vine, so it doesn't vine out a lot. So you don't have to worry about, you can actually plant this on, I think, on 3-foot space, on 36-inch rows, because it don't vine out a lot. And it will make before some of your other winter squash does. So it's earlier maturing than some of your other winter squash. And it makes a more compact vine.
So you could plant it closer together?
Plant it closer together. And it will yield like crazy. It's a great one. We love our aguande squash.
Sheila, I couldn't quite catch what you said about what you do sweet corn before freezing it in preparation to take it out to make cream corn. So we cut it off the cob, and then I put it in the microwave to blanch it. I do 10 minutes on 50% power, stir it, do 10 more minutes, And then I put it in the seal meal bags while it's warm. And then I have an ice chest full of ice water and drop it right down in the ice chest to cool it off really quick. Now, if you don't have seal meal, you can just sit your container down in some ice water and stir it. That's how we used to do it. So then when I get ready to cook it, I'll usually the night before lay it out, or you can defrost it in the microwave.
Good stuff. Randy, will the House native tomatoes take the heat if planted in August in Zone 7 for fall? Yeah, but in Zone 7, you better plant them before August. We plant our fall crop around here. Let me think about this right here. We normally plant them in July. You need to plant those fall tomatoes probably in July, Randy, in Zone 7. Yeah, they will take. The only other variety that I would tell you that would perform better, Roaster is going to do extremely well in the fall slot. Roaster or either Native would be my choice there. But you're going to need to, and I've done this before and I've had failures with fall tomatoes. People don't give them enough time because they love that heat. I got to plant them in July. Doing it all. Halcinators are up, every one of them. Good deal. Seeds always germinate. I've never had a problem. Mr. Hoss, what is your go-to watermelon variety that you grow every year? Thank you, guys. All right. Man, this is a tough one here. For years and years and years, I grew the Crimson Sweet. Up until we got in the seed business, I grew it every year. I love that variety there. It's an older variety. Always does well for us. I will say this right here, from a disease standpoint and from the taste of a watermelon, the best seeded variety out there, hands down, is going to be Sangria. Sangria beats them all dramatically. It has a very good disease package. It's all sweet, it's very good flesh in it, holds up well, does good. We always like to plant. I'm planting Sangria this year and yellow doll. I always like to plant something a little off the wall.
We usually plant baby doll, but we're out of.
I planted baby doll last year, but baby doll we can't get seeds for next year, so we've got yellow doll, which is just as good, if not better. I actually think it's got a little better disease package, and it looks identical to baby doll. I think it's got a little better disease package. So I'm planting a small patch of yellow doll, and I'm planting a bigger patch of Sangria. Hope that helps. Ocean Soul, I love your mercury cubes. They produce so much. I should set up a market stand here in my farm. Yeah, we love it too. That's a good one there. The name is
this year.
Oh man, what is my? I hadn't planted my cucumbers yet. I'm gonna direct seed them. We're planting those. I'm planting a couple of novelty varieties. As far as my go-to, we kind of go back and forth between slicers and cubes. I've got some Max Pack that I thought I would plant as far as
national pick one, don't we?
That's an open pollinated variety. I may plant it. I'm not sure, but I'll probably plant Doe Mead, one of those, maybe Mercury. Diana, just getting here tonight. I'll listen to the end and rewatch, then replay the replay if you put it on. Yeah. So it will be available so you can watch it again. Yep. Oh man, Willett Gross says, Greg, I plant transplant carrots. Have you ever done that? No, I've never done that. That is interesting to me. I didn't know it was possible.
He doesn't do well with carrots.
I've done better with carrots.
No.
You're the carrot guru.
You've never had successful carrots.
I have too.
No.
Yes, I have. I grew them last year. Yeah. Okay. I just didn't share them with you. But yeah, but being able to transplant them, that's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. How far away, this is Jonathan Johnson, should you plant sweet corn from popcorn to prevent pollination?
Oh man, I forgot what the distance is, but it's a pretty good distance. It seemed like it was 300 yards or something like that. It's a pretty good distance that you need to plant them apart. Now, one thing you can do, and I do this a lot, I stagger my plants to take care of that. To give you an example, So I've got sweet corn now planted. It's just come up. Whether it makes or not, we'll see. Then I'll wait about 3 weeks and I'll plant my field corn so that they mature at different times. So that would probably be your best thing
Just
to
to
do.
plant them at different times rather than worrying how far apart they are.
Yeah.
It's been an hour.
All right, we're gonna get this in here, hands in the dirt. We're gonna let y'all go. Hey y'all, my Halcinators, red snapper, and sun sugars have germinated. I can't wait to 7B Georgia. Oh man, you're gonna be delighted. You picked up some good ones right
I
there.
love those sun sugars.
Oh, that's the guy that asked when to go about the cherries. The sun sugars
Yeah.
are. We didn't think about it. Sun sugars are perfect.
They're like a bite of sugar.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much. We enjoyed it. Now it's time for you to get off that couch and get dirty.